Coming to from the finest of America.
It's the Bob and Bob Show.
You talk about politics all the time. People are interested in Instagram and Facebook, and no one cares about politics, Bob. Because politics are boring and nobody wants to hear about it.
Don't you get it, you jackasses? There ain't any damn future if we don't beat this son of a bitch.
I had one beer.
And Mexico will pay for the wall.
We are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the new world order. David Rockefeller.
Hey, what's up, man? You are on the Bob and Bob Show. I am one of the Bobs. They call me LB. And with me, as always, we have the bearded one.
I'm here, present.
And then we got Chopper Rooney, as always.
Ta-da!
Oh, my God. Again, on the damn sound effects, so we're going to be getting interrupted a lot, so bear with us. I think it might be funny. Who knows? But
It's funny.
happy 420, everybody out there smoking it up. We're obviously not smoking it up because we have to be...
Because we have jobs in the world.
Yeah, we have to be kind of on point.
Up on the mic.
Who is that saying that?
I don't know. Who was that? So it's 420, so let's talk about 420 for a
Wait,
minute.
have you been 420ing? We got somebody else in the studio today, don't
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
I forgot. We also have the Y2 Kid. And Toes in the house. He will be doing a nice little drum solo at the halfway point, so everybody stay tuned for that one.
Do a little ding-dangle real quick, just for a second, man.
Do a ding-dangle.
Yeah.
There you go. He did a ding-dangle
That's
for
a
you.
dangle-dingle, but okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about the whole marijuana controversy and states deciding for or against it, and let's talk about Monsanto a little bit. I know
Yeah.
there's some internet rumor conspiracies going on.
When isn't there?
I guess they're saying that Monsanto wants to get their hands in it, and by Monsanto getting their hands in it, it'll be more likely to get approved through government.
Who saw that coming?
So they're like, oh well, if a big corporation can genetically modify it, it'll be okay for the population.
Well, I mean, Monsanto controls the government anyway. They have chairmen and bureaucracies all over Washington that are also, engaging in deep special interests that should be completely illegal if they're not already being sidestepped. So who didn't see that coming? The marijuana, the destigmatization socially, gets to a certain point where the corporations are like, hey, now it's time to step in and take over and make it legal because now we're at a point socially where we can make billions off this like we did off tobacco after we demonized marijuana 75 years ago.
Well, I want to know why everybody thinks marijuana is so harmful. Like, where's the evidence?
Well, there's a lot of propaganda is what it is.
Well, this article I have here, they're talking about, it hasn't been legalized because the public doesn't want it legalized.
Public who?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. They're saying that it hasn't become mainstream. They're trying to say, the public isn't agreeing with it being legalized, so the federal government's not going to do it.
Do they have polls to support this? Because pretty much my entire life and watching people around me says otherwise. Not even just people I know, but people I know about and people that I know that, the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, everybody knows a bunch of pot smokers. I don't care who you are. You know a bunch of pot smokers, and some of them are probably doing it in secret.
Where's the 80 car pileup on the freeway because there was a marijuana driver that wrecked?
There isn't one.
I want to hear that one. When's
Sure.
that? It's always a DUI, so we're allowed to get drunk and just destroy our lives with alcohol.
Well, it's not to say that being super stoned can't be a liability. It certainly can be, just like anything else, but alcohol's not illegal.
I know, that's the crazy thing.
That's the point I'm making. Like, where's the facts and these stigmas? It's based on propaganda and corporate special interests. That's all it ever was. And,
Well, think about how much money is made because of DUIs.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You're paying
the war on drugs.
Yeah, $8 to $10,000 just to get a DUI under control with your attorney fees and all the fines and costs, and then you get your license suspended. Now, I've talked about it before. The BMV is now your judge and jury now.
Sure.
So you're if you don't blow on that breathalyzer, if you don't do what that cop says on the side of the road there, you're immediately suspended. They actually take your card that you paid for.
Yeah.
That's not your personal property, I guess.
No, it's not. You pay for it, but it's not yours. It's issued by the state. The state owns it.
Yeah, the state owns you too because you get a freaking social security number right when you're born.
The state owns your army boots and all your medals too.
Oh, geez. So happy 420, everybody. And like to thank everybody for listening today.
We're moving away from marijuana.
Yeah, do you really want to talk more about marijuana? Let's
Well,
go.
I don't know. It's just it's all been propaganda, all of it. It's the petrochemical industries and the pulp paper industries ganging up on basically what was the hemp industry. And geez, I don't have the guy's name right now, but I think it was Anslinger. Basically launched. He's like, how can we fearmonger people against marijuana? Mexicans love to smoke marijuana. This is back in the 1930s. Mexicans love to smoke marijuana, and people don't like Mexicans. So let's connect Mexicans to marijuana and launch, an anti-drug campaign.
Hold on, who doesn't like Mexicans? What are you talking about?
Just the general American public at the time.
Oh,
It was like it was a way to tie this quote unquote such dangerous, menacing, compound drug, and tie it up with people's already ill-conceived notions towards Mexican people, and there you go. It was easy to demonize it, man.
Well, what do you think? Oh my God, Chops!
It worked.
Chops, what do you think about it, man? What do you think about the marijuana banning or not banning or all that kind of stuff? That's what you think?
I think he says it's a load of shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it is too. But everybody be safe out there with your 420.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on because there's a lot of crap going on in the country. and-
Everything's legal in Alabama. Just don't get caught.
Yeah,
Prostitution should be legal.
Oh, jeez. I am now in soundbite world.
I know. Bob thinks everything should be legalized.
Not necessly.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Liberate sex workers.
Yeah,
Most things. What did you?
Liberate sex workers.
I didn't sign a waiver for that.
Oh, Bob also. We were talking about drug dealing out of Taco Bell or whatever.
Dude, this-
I would like Mexi Melt with no pico. Wink, wink. No pico.
That's why you didn't want me to hit them buttons. You had something lined up. Right?
did. We have. We can do a beep. We can do a beep. Beep, beep.
That's awesome.
Oh man, yeah, that was a little surprise we had for Bob. Me and Chops cut his
That's
voice.
awesome. Dude, this, by
on
the way,
mic.
this,
Up on the mic.
this coffee's hot enough for $1 million lawsuit, man. Jeez.
All right, so moving ahead here to all you Trump supporters and anti-Trumpers, he passed a new tax law not too long ago that actually allowed 60 of America's biggest corporation to pay $0 in federal taxes.
That couldn't possibly be a crony deal.
No. So some of these companies, Amazon, Netflix, General Motors, Chevron, JetBlue, IBM. I mean, that's just some of them. So I get it. You do a tax cut on a large corporation, and that should trickle down into the economy.
But
don't you
that's
think?
never been the case.
Yeah. So the employees still get paid a crap wage. The prices never change on their goods and services, so.
The reality is that corporations are not people. They wrote law that basically make corporations people as far as tax code is concerned, and it's bull. It's 100% bull. It's cronyism. When, if taxes are going to come from anywhere, the most just way to do it, in my opinion, would be corporate tax, not individual tax. Don't tax individuals, tax companies, because companies, there's a million ways to pass finance through anyway, but
Yeah, but they sit there at their round table, and let's say that they're starting to get hammered with taxes, and they're like, well, we're going to
they are.
They're
but
like, well, how are we going to eat these costs? Well, the consumer's going to eat this
the
cost.
consumer always eats the cost. The
Always.
consumer pays for when Trump passes a tariff on a border, commodities coming across borders. That the consumer always pays.
Well,
But
here's a factoid. They paid zero tax on $79 billion in pre-tax income.
see, that's ridiculous. That's what I'm talking about.
$79 billion.
Right. And it goes into these massive holding companies that are pretty much privately owned, if you really break it down. And you end up with oligarchical power in government that writes more laws like that, and it just makes the tip of the spear at the top of the mountain that much sharper,
Yeah,
man.
everybody loves Netflix, and for instance, they raked in almost $900 million in profit and paid no tax.
Right. See, that's what I mean.
What?
Now, see, here's the thing. The individuals that work at Netflix, including everybody that's an employee, including the CEOs and stuff, they still get paid. They still make money. That profit is not part of all that overhead, and they're not paying any taxes on just blind profit like that. That's where corporate monsters are born, dude.
Mhm, big giant freaking tentacles hanging
I
out.
say stop taxing individuals, especially low-income individuals, and start, tax corporations instead. It's kind of like how Eisenhower used to do, and it worked, man, pretty good for
But
a while.
that'll never
there.
happen because the people who make those decisions are
That's
the rich
what.
people.
That's
You know
why
what
we
I
have
mean?
this podcast.
Never.
That's what we're talking about all the time, man. Is the people that have the power taking more. You know what I mean? That's how they
But
do
they
it.
want to call everybody
We
conspiracy
don't need
theorists.
No education.
Well, that's another side of it too. They dumb everybody down, so they don't want to pay attention to anything. It's
Well,
crazy.
it's a need to know basis, man. And then there's misinformation and all that other. Geez, there's so much.
Well, we're going to get into another big corporation like Amazon. I don't know if our listeners are aware, if you guys are aware, but they've been they host like sensitive government data, and they have data buildings that collect all that sensitive classified information.
Well, Amazon used to be a bookstore, man. What happened?
I don't know. They've gone into
Is
a
that
monster.
the same Amazon?
Amazon monster.
I mean, it's not just a distribution warehouse with cheap, closeouts and stuff anymore. Now it's getting into data mining and selling you to the government.
Yeah, same as Facebook, same as Twitter, same as all that. But, now Microsoft is trying to compete. So now these two people are competing to who can hold the government classified information. Come on, dude. You guys should be like,
Why are private corporations holding it? You see what I'm saying?
it's a corporatocraty, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's out of control.
I know I'm saucy. I don't know about you, man.
Oh, geez. So so Microsoft's trying to do it, and I don't know. I think they're already building a facility. I'm not sure here. Yeah, they have two. They're going to do 2 data centers, and that's how that's going to work out. Moving ahead.
There's nothing we can do about any of that.
No, there's absolutely nothing. We're just peon slaves.
Dude, even if all of us and everybody we know stopped using Amazon, they wouldn't even notice that. It wouldn't even be a blip on the screen.
I know. Well, things happen in masses. So if you wanted a company that was corrupt and doing bad to the public, if you had a critical mass that just didn't buy their crap anymore, then they would see a huge loss.
Sure.
Then they would have to change their tune.
They will change it as that happens.
But you can't get, as long as you keep people divided or you keep them occupied,
Sure.
nobody will unite and change
Or you
things.
keep it super convenient and cheap and cost efficient to use Amazon, and nobody's going to stop using it. They'll give their data. They don't care.
Right, yeah, Walmart and all their sweatshops that they get half their products from, more than likely,
Yeah.
they're still going to go to Walmart and buy that crap because it's freaking $5 cheaper on a $10 item.
$5.
$5 holla.
$5.
You suck.
But, when you get into money, you get into like J.P. Morgan's stupid Chase Bank.
Yeah.
They actually shut down some alt-right, quote-unquote, accounts.
Uh-huh.
And for no reason at all. They had no reason to state why they shut down their
There
accounts.
should be a trial for things like that to happen.
Yeah. Well, they had
I mean,
no...
a corporation shouldn't just be able to be like, well, we disagree with your politics. I mean, even if it is politics that are easy to disagree with, like racism, let's say, there's still a thing called rule of law. And without that being respected, regardless of a personal opinion, that is the crossroads where a rule of law being ignored or biased becomes a tyranny, and that is supposed to be protected under the Constitution. So how can that happen without a trial, man?
I don't know. I mean, it's a private corporation. It's not like in the
Right.
So what? They have to have their own private trial.
No, the government should be like, you can't do that.
Oh, and so now the government, you want to give government more power?
No, the government's supposed to check. The government is supposed to work in accordance to rule of law to keep tyranny at bay, from corporations to people, from individuals to individuals. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you're in a free economic system like we're supposed to be in, then you just
For
okay,
it to remain free, there has to be a check system.
well, you have to have competition, so you do.
Yeah.
So they could just say, well, you shut down my account, you piece of crap. I'm going to move over to this other bank instead. And that's all they probably had to do.
Sure,
But what happens when they shut down an account? They're probably
but
like,
it depends on what kind of account we're talking
yeah,
about.
they're like,
too.
you had early termination. We're going to set a fee of $10,000 you have to pay since you had $1.5 million in here.
There's room for criminal activity in there, is what I see. You know what I mean? That's kind of.
There's
I don't
always-
have all the intricacies on the case, but it just seems shady to me. Even though I don't disagree, I'm not all about the Klan having a nice banking situation. I mean, but for a bank, listen, for a bank to just straight up blacklist somebody, does it matter who they are? I mean, really, as far as liberty is concerned, they can't blacklist Black Lives Matter, but they'll blacklist, what is that, Richard Spencer? I don't know, man. It just seems like it has to be the same rules across the board. It has to be the same rules across the board. It can't be biased. That's all I'm saying.
But
But it is.
Well, we know what it is. It's a educated way through a control power elite. You know, they're watching things. They're turning people against each other, and they're picking and choosing who they want to fire up this time. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Last time during under Obama's administration, it was the minorities. Let's empower them. You know, you have a black president now, and they're like, well, how are we going to change it up, make everybody go crazy? Let's put a blonde-haired devil in there.
Put some ridiculous, pompous, detached billionaire in there. Yeah, some white guy that doesn't know shit from chat based on anything outside of his little bubble world, and it'll turn everything inside out, man, because he's not going to know anything about a minority struggle or care.
Yeah,
and
he don't give two craps about nothing, dude.
Yeah, and then the poor honky white dudes that blame everything on, black people or whatever are going to jump on that because he's one of them, but he's not one of them.
Nope, he's a corrupt, seriously corrupt, tax evading freaking demon, man. He is.
He's a con artist.
If you look at
bankruptcy filing.
Yeah, if you
he's
look,
a bona fide con artist. It's verifiable.
Yeah, look at his history, man. Like, if you really dig back in his history, you're like, oh my god, this dude crapped on everybody.
Everybody, everybody, dude.
So and now we have the migrant problem. We have the illegal immigrants, jumping borders, and
right.
He's saying we're gonna put a wall up, and we've talked
I
about
thought
this.
that wall was already going up.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Parts of it probably are by now.
We should talk about the Mueller report or whatever.
What happened?
I haven't even been looking at that.
Yeah, I don't even
man.
care about it. I don't care. It's just a big dog and pony show.
It's so convoluted.
What happened with the convoy
Just don't have the time.
coming from down South America?
I haven't even looked into that either, but I do know
there's
that
a new convoy every month.
I do know I have some information here. Arizona City is overwhelmed by these migrants, and they declared a state of emergency.
Yeah.
What about when Trump said that he was going to send all the people crossing the border to the safe cities?
The sanctuary cities.
Sanctuary cities.
Can he actually do that?
I don't think he can.
I mean, he can tweet anything, but what can he actually do?
I don't know what he can. Who knows,
They
man?
said that they would welcome him with open arms, so...
Yeah, but now they're all getting crazy about it. Like, he
Of
can't
course.
do that.
Of
Yeah,
course.
because
That's like,
it was somebody else's idea.
put your money where your mouth is. It sounded real good coming out of your mouth.
It's the romper room childishness of politics, man.
Yeah.
They were sanctuary cities until Trump said they have to be, and now they don't want to be. Is that
Right,
what it is?
exactly.
Like, it's dumb, man. Whatever.
Put your money where your mouth
This
is.
nation is
and
built
now
on
it's-
immigrants. Everybody in this whole country is a freaking immigrant, man.
Yeah, but when you have like a huge influx of them like that,
Yeah, when you've got a refugee storm, there's obviously a crisis to be dealt with. But what's that crisis? Deal with that, and then the refugee storm will go away.
no, let's just put up a wall and leave them over there to get murdered by drug cartels.
Well, they
or
won't
whatever.
even keep them over there. Walls don't really work in that sense.
Well, the mayor there in Arizona City, he's like, they're roaming the streets and they're looking for survival. Like they're hungry, and they're probably going to start stealing stuff.
They're zombies.
They don't have any way to make money.
Right.
So they're going to steal crap. They're going to
Of course
break in
they are.
stuff. I mean, you have to survive. That's
Right.
what happens.
Most of the
Survival
people
mode.
that come here didn't, cross through the desert with a spray painted jug of water either, man. I mean, most of them came over here on work visas, and they stayed because if they left, they wouldn't be able to come back. So they were kind of stuck, man.
Wow.
Especially if they close the borders, then the people that are already here, they're stuck, dude. They're stuck.
Yeah, what are they going to do?
Right. Nobody thinks of that.
Rob, pillage, and steal.
They're going to do whatever they can, like everyone does.
Yep.
That's why they're in a convoy in the first place. And even if someone's paying them to be in the convoy, you know how much money you'd have to offer somebody that's already in a good position in life to just uproot and be in a freaking refugee convoy? It'd be a pretty big dollar amount. So that argument's,
Well, if people got to open their eyes, plain and simple. You want to play into this oligarch.
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 You want to play into that stuff. Well, you're going to get what you're going to get. If you want to pay attention, then you unite.
There's endless evidence showing that social manipulation takes place from agendas that are implemented by the power elite. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt. The whole war on drugs is exactly that. And that's why we have the situations that we have in all of our little banana republics and our little wars with brown people in the Western Hemisphere that nobody seems to know about. It's the DEA, the ATF, and the CIA,
Alphabet soup.
Yeah, throwing these nations in blenders and doing with them what they will and, creating these massive humanitarian crises. And then we're like, well, screw them. They're brown from down there. You know, like,
yeah. You have no actually, you're not paying attention to anything. You're just like, they're brown and they're down there.
yeah, and it's always been that way. And, you know, we
Not that kind of brown.
You know what else is kind of crazy? Check this out. If you want to talk about Mexico and who's righteous in all this, you know, the Louisiana Purchase happened. You know, Louisiana up to Oregon and all that. And
Yeah.
all the, you know, North and South Dakota, all that. What was the rest of all that territory? The Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Texas, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, California, and that's it. I think that's it. Who do you think those states belong to?
The government.
They were Mexico.
Oh,
That was Mexico.
you're talking about the Mexican-American War.
Yeah, I'm talking about how America's borders were drawn and why it happened, and now, you know, relating it to this issue we're talking about today. And if you look not too far back in history, I'm calling 300 years, 200 years not too far, because it's not. America's a very young nation.
Right.
That was Mexico. All those states were Mexico. James Polk decided to use the U.S. government to take it, and he did. In 1840,
Yeah.
President James Polk
Yeah.
invaded Mexico and took what is all those states now, that massive, massive amount of territory. He basically just took it, dude.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson and all them were just slaughtering Indians left
That's
and
what
right.
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
So, you know, now we have this Mexican border along the Rio Grande through the Mojave Desert and all that crap, all the way under San Diego and all that. And that's the border. And, you know, there's this big fight about who can and can't come across for whatever reasons are being propagated, and economic strife, and blaming it all on these brown people that are coming up here, which probably is a real factor in certain areas, especially down there where we're so far away from, we don't even know, you know. But before 1840, that was Mexico.
Right.
So,
I mean, but who cares about history? Let's just pay attention to all the crap that everybody's spewing on the mainstream media.
I mean, it's irrelevant today. I'm just saying we're not that great.
Yeah, well,
You know, like-
but you are saying, though, if you look at history, you can understand some things. that
I'm
are
pretty
happening.
Yeah.
great. I don't know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
that power players take power.
I know I'm
Dude,
saucy. I don't know about you, man.
Power players take power. That's all it is. That's all it ever was, and that's all this is about too, man. It's, you know, it's just another United States president, you know, turning public opinion any way he can to meet an agenda. And what his agenda is, being Donald Trump, probably just so he can call it Trump's wall, man. I mean, that's
Yeah,
probably
he's gonna
all it
spray
really
paint
is.
his name right on the side of it.
You know,
This is- That's what he'll say.
right?
Oh, geez. But, you know, if you think about it, and the real problem, it's not government, it's not the New World Order, it's not the corporations. The problem is
Misinformation.
us.
Yeah.
It's the people. That's
Yeah.
the problem. So if you have, because they like to classify or like put conspiracy theorists in a group.
Sure.
Like, all right, you believe in aliens, you believe it's a flat Earth, you think vaccines are bad, and freaking there's a cabal taking over the globe right now.
It's another compartmentalization and putting a huge, huge group of people with 100 little subgroups into one big ball and calling it conspiracy theorists and demonizing it.
Yeah.
It's just another war against people, man.
Well, listen, we know it's not a flat Earth. People know that, you know. I don't know what's up with the flat Earthers, but you can't classify someone who believes in flat Earth with somebody who believes there's a new world order trying to take over the globe.
Yeah.
You can't classify those two together. But that's the problem. They use that. We've talked about the term.
Flat Earth movement is growing all around the globe.
Oh man. But that's the problem. So if the people are sitting there and they're like, "Oh, these dang conspiracy theorists, you know, children are dying because of the measles and these anti-vaxxers are ruining
Are children
everything."
dying because of the measles?
I'm not sure what the heck is happening with it, but maybe not dying, but they get the measles.
Yeah, I get
Or
it.
whatever, you know.
How many of them were vaccinated that got the measles? I bet half of them or more.
I know, and they're not going to report that one, are
No,
they?
it's never honest. It's always
Yeah.
agendized.
I found some research. I forget where I was looking. They're saying, well, people who get the measles build a resistance to certain
Sure.
cancers.
Yeah.
To certain cancers.
Dude,
So,
our immune system and our biology is so resilient and fragile at the same time, just like life itself. And there's, like you're saying,
There's always a yin for your yang.
yeah, it's what my
Never,
dad always
always.
called pig immunity. It's like if you are always dipped in Purell and isolated from everything, so you can't be compromised, guess what? You're compromised.
yeah,
You're
soon-
compromised because you haven't built up any immunity, and you are basically a person that's never seen the sun being thrown into the desert. You're gonna fry up, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not denying the fact that there is diseases that can kill you.
Of course there
you
are.
know, everybody knows that that's,
Measles can.
that's true. But the fact of the matter is we have vaccine manufacturers that have no liability for what they're
None
manufacturing.
whatsoever.
And
None.
the government mandates it.
Because it's that Monsanto and Big Pharma connection again. It's Bayer and Monsanto
Yeah,
writing
follow-
law, man.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
The chairman of the FDA is a former, the chairman of the FDA is a huge investor in GlaxoSmithKline and is a former executive from Monsanto.
Oh, hold on, man. You're a conspiracy theorist. You know, vaccines
That ain't
are
a
good.
conspiracy.
Freaking
It's it's right on the Vita, man.
I seriously.
You can Google his name and it tells you all about it.
Sometimes I wish I could just jump through Facebook and just drop kick some of these
Well,
people.
it's Facebook, you know.
I know.
You suck.
Yeah, that's what they freaking suck.
Dude, so yeah, it's a big convoluted mess, man.
But, you know, what do you do?
People need to use their brains.
They do. They need to. That's the problem. And I bet you over time, through these vaccines, and through some of the brain damage that happens that nobody knows about, you know, who knows what happens down the road?
You know what? It wasn't bad enough that Chops took his pants off while we were trying to do this broadcast.
Oh my God! You just took your pants off.
He's now.
Oh my
He
God!
yelled at me when I was trying to adjust them, so they just went off.
He is now trying to massage my knee. Dude, get out of town, bro.
Oh man,
You suck.
you're fired. Jeez. All right, so let's get off of this bitching and moaning about all that. Let's talk.
Let's bitch about something else.
Yeah, let's talk about something positive here. So we got Pornhub. You guys know what Pornhub is?
Who doesn't know what Pornhub is?
I bet you there's people out there that don't know.
Well, I'm sure there are. Yeah.
Pornhub, it's a site. I think you can go there for free. I think, and you can watch people have sex. Old people too, if you want or whatever. Anyway, so Pornhub launched a special channel to save the bees.
Okay.
And this is an epidemic. It is, because bees pollinate and they help things grow.
You know what
and,
people should stop doing? They should stop pretending like their residential lawn needs to look like the Gardens of Versailles or a golf course, because it's not. It's just a freaking lawn. When you spray all that stuff on the lawn to kill all the weeds, you're also killing all the flower-producing weeds, plants, that bees actually live on. And when you do that over enough acreage and square mileage, it really, really hurts the population. Let those dandelions grow, man.
Yeah, they're
important.
They're not a weed either.
Your lawn should be a yard, a meadow. It's not a freaking putting green, unless it actually is. Then whatever. But you get what I'm saying. You know, your half-acre lot in suburbia. It's like it's almost like a brainwashing move where people don't use their land to grow gardens and flowers and stuff anymore. They grow it for this big lawn that needs, highly maintained and dealt with, and all the land is basically useless. I mean, it's green. That's nice. It's better than pavement. It's, going to help absorb some of those gamma rays and stuff and X-rays and ultraviolet light from the sun, and, make green grass, which is better than pavement. But dude,
you throw all this controversy on all the mainstream media, and nobody's really paying attention to what is happening to the environment. For crying out loud, the human beings on this planet are becoming. We're going to be extinct one day, like these bees.
Well, that's the main thing. The Earth, you can't hurt the Earth, dude. The Earth will swallow all this up and spit it back out like it was the flu over the weekend, man. We're just a hangover.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I'm
if
saying?
we keep taking all the oil out of the surface, or
The Earth
deep
don't even
well
care about
drilling.
that. It's not even about the Earth. It's about humankind and what we're gonna have what our world is going to be is what we do with it. And also it has to do with our responsibility to species that we affect through our decisions. And to me, that's even bigger than humankind. I mean, humans do it to themselves. When we're doing it to all the other life, that's kind of where, that's a huge responsibility.
Well, yeah, big pharma, big ag, all these big a-holes that are just destroying everything, and everybody's like, it's good for the environment. It's good that you can.
They feed the world.
Yeah.
We could feed the world before. You know how much grain goes in the ocean to create scarcity?
Hey,
Jeez.
whatever happened to that study about pig farts were the worst thing that happened to the ozone and stuff? Whatever happened with that study?
Oh, they're talking about cow.
Yeah, like
Cow farts or pig
industrial farming is really, really, really bad for the environment, dude. Are humans 100% responsible for this global warming thing? No, of course not. The Earth goes through cycles, but do we affect it? I know a lot of really smart people that say we absolutely couldn't possibly affect it. I kind of disagree, man. There's a lot of people here, and we do a lot of stuff. I don't see how we couldn't be affecting it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. We have to be affecting it.
Right.
Well,
I mean-
we're at the halfway point, guys. Everybody get ready for the Y2 Kid.
That was 30 minutes. Welcome back to the Bob and Bob Show. Second half. This is the bearded one speaking. LB is present as usual. Chops is with us. He's definitely getting settled in here.
Oh,
and we got
yeah.
Toe with us today, playing drums. That's what you just heard. That was Anthony Rich, Y2 Kid, whatever you call him. He's Toe to me. So here we are.
Big toe, big toe.
You're welcome.
Wow. So we were talking about Pornhub before. I think we got some more stuff about sex toys a little bit later in the show. Some new sex toys. We'll talk more about that later.
We got all kinds of shows we can talk about sex toys on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we get a show after show after show. of
Well,
sex
it's your lucky day. Today it's this one.
Right. So we looks like Chicago. In Chicago, they had a problem with hundreds of teens running through downtown, being all destructive and
looting,
I don't know. I don't think they were looting. I think they're
stealing shoes.
that might be a possibility. But they're yelling and stopping traffic and cussing at the cops and just being crazy people. I'm not sure why.
Maybe they saw some Antifa videos and felt inspired.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some Portland, Oregon videos.
I watched the video, and unfortunately, I'm not racist. Just to say, not unfortunately, but I'm not racist. But most of the people were African Americans. Most of these kids.
Probably because it took place in an African American community where that's pretty much what the population consists of.
I think they were out protesting, looting, and stealing.
What were they protesting?
They were out
though?
looting and stealing to protest that.
Well, I guess there was like up to 500 these kids running around all at once. I mean, could you imagine like 500 kids?
500's a lot.
Running through downtown, just like jumping off stuff and yelling at everybody and stopping traffic. And what was the point? Like,
yeah, that's what I wonder.
And
the ditch school. We talked about this before.
well, I don't know. I think it was at nighttime, but
Yeah, but how does this get started and just happen?
well,
you know?
dude, Chicago had to like get 200 officers or so out there. That's a bunch of taxpayer money going down the
Sure.
drain.
Wow.
Well, taxpayer money's going down the drain because of the drug war, which is most of the reason Chicago is violent the way it is.
Yeah, well,
Marginalization.
Chicago's a drug hub of the United States.
Well, there you go, man. Used
where
to
was
be a beef town.
Obama governor or whatever? Where was he? He was doing
Chicago,
something. Yeah.
man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh no! Don't say that.
He's got all the solutions lined up, doesn't
Oh,
he?
Jesus, crazy teenagers, man. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Great ideas. There's where they go.
My son was like, "Man, I wish I lived in the '80s. You guys had it great."
I loved the 80s,
I know, me
man.
too.
It was great.
I was showing him pictures of the youth. We're like jumping. Remember, we used to jump the ditch over there, and
The Walls' ditch?
yeah, we used to
Oh,
get
yeah.
on our bikes and jump this ditch. And,
Yeah.
Bobby's like, my friends don't even do that. They're always online all the time.
Just
Yeah,
to see how many
everybody-
people we could jump. We'd lay all those people side by side and jump all those people.
That has changed the nature of the internet technology and smartphones and stuff like that has completely changed the entire paradigm of like human beings, like who they are and who they're becoming and what they do and what they're about, what they're capable of, and how they solve problems, how they absorb information, and how they feel about that information. All of that is deeply affected by this smartphone situation we've got going on, and kids are not only too afraid to jump a line of their buddies on a BMX now.
Right.
It sounds like they have
They
a
also-
bunch of well-groomed bad ideas.
Well,
Let's
they
run
also-
through Chicago and loot everything.
They also aren't burning off all that energy, dude.
That's all our years of study on good ideas. Let's do that one.
I mean, all that mental energy and everything that comes with, living in the real world and being kids as kids used to be all through the millennia leading up till now. Maybe that has something to do with where all this pent up rage is coming from. Because when when you don't get to blow off steam, whether it be chopping wood or jumping on BMX bikes, it builds up, man.
Yeah,
And-
you're
Or
sitting
just
in there.
leaving the house at all, period.
Yeah, just leave the house and go do something.
Dude, my ex-wife used to tell me, go outside and chop wood or something. Like, if I didn't get my sweat on, I was irritable, man.
Yeah,
You know
my
what I mean?
fiance's the same way. She's like, when I'm irritable, she's like, go ride your freaking quads. Get the hell
Right.
out of here.
You
You
gotta
know?
do
Go
something,
outside. We learned that when we were kids, though. Pester the heck out of your parents, and they'll make you go outside.
Yeah.
You want to go outside, and they ain't let you. Just pester them to death.
Yeah, I know.
So we can go outside. You
we
do
were-
that same with your spouses now.
Yeah, we were gone, man.
Bug the hell out of them.
My dad would come home from work and stand on the edge of the deck, and he had the loudest whistle. You could hear it from any point in the woods, and you knew it was time to head home. You
That's
better
like
be home
Bobby's
within 15
mom.
minutes of that. But it's not like that anymore. Everybody's scared to let their kids outside, and their kids are scared to go outside. They're scared of germs. They're scared of everything, man. They're scared of the boogeyman, and
Yeah, they got Uncle Jimmy in the ice cream truck.
all the
driving
grit.
around.
The grit's gone, and
Turning out
all the
windows.
The angst and
Well,
anger
you know,
is even worse.
you gotta have some kind of fear now, because I mean we just had a kid that was missing for like a weekend, and they just found him buried in a shallow grave.
That happened back then too. Does it happen more now than it used to?
I don't know, but the crazy part about it is he was like milking cows at he's like a farmer community kind of thing.
Yeah.
He was like helping milk cows or something. I don't know the whole story, but he said he had a toothache and then left or something, and then ended up in a shallow grave somewhere.
When was this?
You know what?
This is recently.
It was the dentist,
A few
dude.
days ago?
It was the dentist. He had his appointment set for Monday at 2:30.
Right.
He was missing by 3.
Yeah, he's like, no way. Yeah. Well, I wonder what happened there. I wonder if they'll ever find out. I mean, that's crazy. He was a 14-year-old boy.
Dude, the other side of that, this day and age, good luck getting away with anything if the investigators are competent and if they have the resources to solve a crime. They will solve it, dude.
Yeah, like they did the Jussie Smollett case. They'd solve that one.
Right.
He's back on TV, too. I was just watching something about him on TV. He just got fired from something. I can't remember what he just got fired from. Or they wouldn't let him participate in something else. I should research it more before I open my mouth about talking about it on the show.
Well, it's all right.
I was hoping you'd be able to fill me in.
Dude, stuff
guess
just
not.
comes up, man.
Good job, wingman.
Well, with me, the stupid stuff like that, I'll browse through it, and then I'll pull out some factoids, and I'll bring it up in the show, and then I don't care anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but what,
it's stupid nonsense filling the gap of news, the
it's
24-hour
so much
news
fun
cycle.
ragging on them, though. You know?
Well, I've been looking up some more news.
Well, this is an op-ed thing. This is what we do. We're podcasting about things that we see, and that's what it is, man. Sometimes our research is excellent. Sometimes we just ask a bunch of questions. But the reality is it's just a stream of consciousness, and we're just trying to figure things out, man.
Sometimes we're absolutely wrong, too. So
yeah, who's not?
don't hold us accountable to anything.
I'm usually wrong.
Woodrow Wilson was absolutely wrong, and, Theodore Roosevelt was absolutely wrong about a bunch of stuff, too, and so is everybody, so.
Well, Chops, hey, I guess you should probably get your fart and toilet noises ready, because this next article, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to paraphrase a few things here. But apparently in San Francisco, they're having a big problem with people pooping on the streets.
That's not a new thing.
Well, it's getting worse. And I know it's not a new thing, but in 2011, apparently they had 5,500 reports of people pooping on the streets.
Yeah.
And now in 2018, they have 28,000 instances that they're reported about pooping on the street.
Is there like a toilet shortage or something? Did they tax toilet water? What's going on?
Oh, I think a lot of it has to do with the homeless that are there. They don't really have anywhere to go poop.
What? How'd they get there? Why are they there? Is heroin free in San Francisco or something?
I don't know.
I mean, let's get real. Portland's the same way. It's a poopy city too. It all comes down to how they're governed, man, and what their council members allow and what they don't, and their ordinances and all that stuff.
They literally have a new group called the Poop Patrol.
Yeah,
and they're walking around the streets picking up human deuces.
they're walking around the streets like it's 1842 Brooklyn, New York. You know what I mean? It's 1842 Brooklyn, New York, and San Francisco right now. One of the most progressive, quote unquote, cities in the United States, they say, and here we are drowning in poop.
You could poop anywhere in New York back then? Just walking
No,
down the street
I was just
and poop?
talking about when sanitation was kind of coming to be in New York, and
What you do is you look at the camera, make sure it gets your facial recognition, it locks into you, and then you
Right.
drop your drawers and just go to town on the sidewalk.
they're like, Billy Bobescu just made a big one. He must have had Chinese food last night. Let's
And
go get
They're
it.
going to start wearing masks, and they're going to start having fecal recognition.
Fecal recognition.
There's going to be a bunch of guys out there getting DNA of your poop.
They can too.
Busted.
It's crazy because dude, I don't know. It's bad government. There's no excuse for that. It's people just being. Why are they there, dude?
It's the government's fault that people are
It's
pooping.
everyone's fault, but it's the government's fault that it gets like that. It really is, dude. I mean, it always comes down to that. Why is it happening?
Yeah, why? I mean, if it's all homeless people, why are they homeless?
What? Yeah, why are they there?
Oh, no, let's not go after the root of the problem.
Because San Francisco is supposed to be the cool place for homeless people to go. That's what it is, and they all just flood there.
They accept homeless there more than other places.
And it's the same in Portland. I saw a map of a red dot placed where a report of human fecal matter being in a public space was marked with a red dot, a bird's eye view over San Francisco.
Mhm.
It looks like somebody dumped a can of red paint over the map, dude. It's crazy. It was something like 26,000 spots.
And
Like,
Chops would be at home over there. He's always dropping his drawers. Might as well just
Right.
drop
It
a
would be
deuce
too.
while you're at it.
The lazier we can get.
Just walk
Yeah.
down the road like I just had some Taco Bell. Oh.
These are the same two cities where the mayor tells the police to stand down to Antifa protesters who are harassing passersby and commuters just for no reason other than that they can and get away with it. But
I'm sure that's what kind of fired up those Chicago kids to go run around and act crazy.
that's what I
'cause-
said. They probably
yeah.
watched an Antifa clip
Right,
on
they feel
YouTube.
like it's okay. We're gonna do something.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's silly, man.
A bunch of
We've
poop.
all been youthful and all that, but this is a bigger problem, and it goes. in
I
any
can't
number
believe
of
we have to
directions.
report this, like, or talk about it, like pooping on the streets.
I'm glad we get to report this and talk about it.
I know that's all you talk
Who
about. is
raised
poop
who
and butts
raised
and
all
everything.
these people, man? Where's
Arrested.
mom and dad? You know,
Well, some cities,
mom and dad are pooping too.
some cities you can get in trouble for feeding the homeless.
Right.
You heard that before?
Yeah,
No.
which that's crazy too.
What?
Yeah. So don't feed the homeless because they're gonna poop on the streets. Like, come on, man. What is wrong with you people?
See, sometimes the lack of government intervention is the problem, and sometimes the government intervention is the problem, and that's where the people need to step in. But the people aren't usually smart enough to even figure out what the problem is in the first place. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's a continual thing where they just like put a little Band-Aid on not the problem itself,
Right.
but like 5 steps ahead so
Yeah.
that the problem never goes away.
Right, because you know what? Poop on the street isn't really the problem. That's a symptom of a bigger problem, the homeless issue. Why are they all there? Why are they homeless? And what's going on?
Right. Oh,
You know?
and we're in Trump's economy where everybody's doing great. So what's happening
That's
here?
another thing. A continental economy, man. Come on, that splits up so many different ways. $1 in San Francisco and $1 in Manhattan are not the same thing. They're not.
Oh, I know. You're paying $12 for a pack of cigarettes
It's
in New York
just
City. I mean,
Cost of living and wage markets and employment markets, everything, all that stuff. The real estate markets, it varies so widely, and that's why these massive blanket mandates don't always offer an actual solution. It might be a solution over here for this 500 square mile radius, but over there it's a disaster because the requirements are totally different.
well, dude, here to our listeners, here's the thing. You know how much tyranny and corruption you're going to get as much as you're going to allow. So if you shut up and you do nothing and you stick your thumb up your butt all the time, like
Yeah.
you're going to get more
All of a sudden-
tyrannical crap.
Yeah, all of a sudden you've got a shrine to Supreme Leader in your living room, and it's got eyeballs made of cameras, and you better smile every time you pass it.
Right. Or you got, you got stuff like the BMV that can just freaking judge and jury your ass. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Alphabet
That is
soup.
crazy. All of this is crazy, and it's because people are letting it happen.
Of course.
I
always.
mean, what was it, we went to in a Revolutionary War because of a 2% tax.
3%. Get
Or
your facts
3%.
right.
Sorry. Whatever. 2, 3. What's the difference?
It was also mandated purchasing. Citizens were required under mandate of the Crown to buy their tea from the East India Trading Company, which happened to be, guys, this is no different than what's happening right now with big pharma deals and stuff. It's East India Trading Company happened to be a company that the king himself had massive stocks in.
Oh, imagine that.
So he mandated that his colonies buy tea from the East India Trading Company.
Well, what are we getting taxed now on our income? 45% or something?
No,
Or-
you have to be really, I don't even know if we have a bracket that's that high, but
It's not 3%.
yeah, our taxes should be lower than they are, and most of our tax money is improperly allocated anyway because it's not allocated to the people's interest. It is allocated to corporate special interest.
Allocated.
It's alligator to the interesting people
Oligarchy.
of corporations. No, it's corporate special interest run by the same oligarchs. I mean, they take our money. It could be lower, and we could get a lot more for it.
Oh, you can boil it back down to the freaking measles outbreak in New York, that county in New York or whatever.
Yeah.
The judge mandates vaccines.
Even though what was it, 23 people that had measles or something like that?
The numbers are way higher now, dude. I mean, I think it's up to 329 confirmed cases now.
How many of those people were vaccinated, though?
They're not telling us.
Well, I need to know that before I'm going to.
Well, they're not going to tell you.
Yeah, they'll
Well, then
never
it's
tell
no
you that.
deal. All bets are off
It
until
doesn't
you tell
matter.
me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. A judge says you live in that area, you're getting it. Sorry.
But that's that's the problem, though. What if everybody that's got measles was
Well,
vaccinated?
so when he put this mandate on there, a bunch of parents got pissed off and filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And he denied the lawsuit and said, "Screw you," and we're gonna close more schools. And listen to what this dude said, man. This is crazy. He let's see here.
I wonder how much money he's getting for this.
True. Unreal, probably.
He's like, a
Unreal.
fireman need not obtain the informed consent of the owner before extinguishing a house fire. Vaccination is known to extinguish the fire of contagion. So
That's non-parallel comparisons.
Yeah,
man. That's
right,
not
yeah.
logically consistent.
that's what he said, and people are gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense, man.
Who would say
no,
that?
because the measles is not a house fire.
The dumb people would say,
Right.
like, okay, the CDC says it's okay, like,
Well, if
might
they
as well
say
do
so.
First of all, he's saying this under the pretext that a vaccination for measles is a cure for measles, and it's not.
it. Right.
So right out the gate, he's wrong. Was this judge ever a lawyer? Because he's not a very good one.
No, I think he's
I'm not
complete idiot.
educated at all, and I can tear his argument apart. It's sorry as hell, and people are just going to go with it because you listen to the guy in the robe,
Yeah, or with the gavel.
Right.
All right, I'm getting tired of getting into this vaccine crap. I don't know what, but we have to keep doing it because it is a medical tyranny
It's
that's happening.
massive, unsettled science, and to mandate that upon a population is almost always ended in disaster.
So we went from poop to vaccines.
Well, let's
Why
get into
not?
sex
Whatever,
toys.
we're gonna
Wait,
go-
as long as we're talking about poop and vaccines.
Let's talk about sex toys then.
Dude, sanitation. The idea that you don't poop where you eat, you don't pee and poop in the same river that you get your drinking water out of,
Basic
that-
laws.
that you don't let the livestock too close to the well. You know what I mean? It's just basic sanitation. Like, it has done more for disease control than any vaccine ever will.
Absolutely, and you can see it throughout history too. You can see how everything starts calming
That's
down.
when sanitation is introduced and
Oh.
sewers are made, and people stop doing stupid things like pooping on the dinner table before they smear it all over their face and eat their beef stew.
Get the dinner table ready. Anybody got to poop?
It's just basic sanitation is all it is, man.
Oh God!
And without pig immunity, we'd all be dead in a week. So,
You knew you had corn yesterday. Why did you volunteer to do the table?
so it just,
Oh geez.
the whole principle of vaccination is pig immunity anyway. Well, there's another side of that. They call it herd immunity too, whatever. It's like George Carlin said, the kids that swam in the sewer never got sick. There is a lot of truth in that.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
we're not talking about special cases where people have congenital diseases that it compromise their immune system. That's something completely different, and that's a minority. Even though that is becoming more of a problem, and that's arguably because of a lot of what we've been doing, dipping everybody in Purell and vaccines, and all of a sudden they're it's a baby that's never seen the sun that's going to fry as soon as you toss them out the window. So.
Jeez. Well, okay, vaccines, poop. Now let's talk about
Sex toys.
Sex toy. Chops has been waiting for the sex toy thing. So this sex toy now, it's silicone feet, and it has built-in privates they cut it off right there at the knee joint, and they put a vagina on the end of it. So
No more dead hookers.
I mean, come on. And they're saying
excuses would be
people are
legal.
really buying these things, dude. Like, for real. Like,
I want my leg with a hole in the knee hole.
there's like
I want 2 left legs.
I'd like one human leg with the vagina in the calf, please.
I'd like to paint the toenails when I use it.
Oh God! But I mean, what kind of sick, twisted crap is going on here? You have to
I like
actually
mine
buy.
with toe jam.
You actually have to buy fake silicone feet to masturbate with, or
What are
whatever.
their sales looking like? though? I might buy one just
How
for fun.
often do you have to wash it?
They're 200. They're about $200.
Does it smell like feet when you're done with it?
Dude, those would be awesome party favors.
Oh man, we'd be beating each other with them.
Everybody be wink like, watch this. I'm going to launch this one into a crowd.
No, I think it'd be terrible. You know you're going to catch that one weirdo friend using it at the end of the night. You know what I mean? What are you doing in there?
He's walking around with a green leg hanging off his crotch.
Did you take my leg home with you?
Oh man.
Walk your leg.
And my purple fingernail polish is missing too. Bring it back.
Walk your leg.
Well, you're not gonna $200. You're gonna throw that thing out in the crowd.
Why you think they call them toe? It ain't just a whole foot.
Oh,
It's a foothold.
That's man, that's crazy. I was looking at the they had an image online. I'm like, what the hell? It looked like a vagina on the kneecap or whatever where
Yeah.
they cut it off at.
There's all kinds of stuff out
I
there.
mean, I guess the foot fetish thing. I don't know. I don't like feet, honestly, man. I'm grossed out by them all
you
the time.
can buy a fake person these days for thousands and thousands of dollars. It's basically like a rubber corpse. You drop it in the bathtub and soak it in hot water till it's warm, and then you You just flip it over your shoulder, just like the dead hooker, and just flop it down on your bed and hump it before it gets cold.
Well, if they keep creating these things, if they keep creating like these sex robots and all this other crap that's going on, eventually people are just going to stop mating. Maybe
Are people still mating?
I don't know.
You see these weird fringe things on online sometimes, like weird articles talking about how millennials can't even date because they can't interact with other human beings, and birth rates are on the biggest decline they've ever been on. Screw infant mortality. There aren't enough infants being born to die.
Right. That's what the future looks like. Like, you can only say, like,
people are cyber dating, man. They jerk off on a screen instead of having sex.
Right.
You know?
And then they destroy the language, so the only thing you can say is "bae,"
Right.
or And so you're having sex with robots. You can't communicate with anybody but by saying "bae, bae," or whatever.
Bae.
What the hell is going on, man?
It's pretty crazy, man. Technology, man.
I mean, speaking about what the hell's going on,
giveth and taketh.
Listen to this crap. A demon with fangs arrested after a woman found dead with bite marks on her neck.
Is he from Florida?
I don't know where he's from. I'm not gonna get into his
She
name.
stole his sex toy.
Yeah,
Bring back my foot.
He was just looking for a rubber leg.
Well, this is in the Ukraine, I think. But
Where's my rubber leg?
I mean, this dude had fangs in his mouth like a demon. He had horns on his head that were like surgically put on there. Like,
Well, if it's from Ukraine, it sounds about right.
He
dude.
took it too far.
way too far.
Super
dude.
white. It doesn't get any more white than that.
What, fangs and horns?
Yeah, in the Ukraine.
Find something to do with yourself.
You damn devil.
You say she was found dead?
Yeah, she was dead with bite marks on her
He
neck.
bit her to death, dude.
I'm gonna bite your throat.
It was a
how
blood
you
soaked
remember that?
apartment. She had stab wounds and bites on her neck, dude. So this dude went in there, slaughtered her, and bit her on her neck like he was a vampire or something.
Weirdo.
Mecca, please.
Look how long he prepared for that, too. He got the horns. He got I mean, come on. That's a
At
long
court,
time.
dude, in court, the judge looked at him and did the bullhorn thing, and he was like, "You mess with the bull, you get the horns." and then he gave him a sentence.
They gave him a sentence, so you have to surgically implant horns on your forehead.
What do I do with this guy? Yeah, I can imagine what he's thinking.
Oh, gee.
on.
Yeah, for real. Like, come on, man. I wonder how that dude would operate in America. Like, what would people do? He's at the grocery store and he's got horns.
There's clubs where people do
Yeah, there's
stuff like
people
that.
like
and they
that in
walk,
America,
There's
for
like
sure.
vampire clubs and stuff, man, where people like trade blood and things. It's crazy.
Ah.
It's crazy. People get like weird infections in their body for drinking other people's bloods.
There's probably, I'm sure, stuff like that. Eastern Europe. I mean, that is the home of Dracula, man. That's
The home of Dracula.
it is Transylvania.
Oh, man.
What
So,
you suck
A
on.
one, a two.
all right. So, you want something else to talk about here? We went through the demon.
Count, get it?
Demon with fangs, sex robot, pervs,
We
or
get it,
whatever.
Bob.
Sex
Wasn't
feed
that
or whatever.
good?
Too many dad jokes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! So,
What is that?
this one is about neuroscientists that just brought pig brain cells back to life. So they went to the slaughterhouse and they got the heads that were chopped off of pigs.
So we're going from Dracula to Frankenstein, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dracula to Rob Zombie.
No, they didn't bring the
Dracula.
the functions of the brain back to life to where consciousness was there.
Yeah.
They couldn't
least-
get the dead pig to
It
talk.
doesn't have a brain stem.
Right,
Yeah.
but they did get the cells to regenerate or something, and
Right.
by
What did it do? Wink?
I don't know.
Stick its tongue out?
But they're like, well, there was no consciousness, but how do you know, man? And
Well, were the cells splitting by themselves, and just like if they just step back and release hands, it would just do its own thing?
well, they used like blood-like technology to restore cellular functions in the brain, and
A bunch of hoopla.
they said they successfully revived dead pig brains, and I mean,
Science can't be too far away from doing that. As long as the body is not like damaged, rotten, like if the DNA isn't damaged, you should be able to reanimate a body at this point. I think it's probably possible. Dude.
I mean, I know I saw something about
No,
they're like they took
not.
cells from a human and 3D printed their heart,
yeah.
and I don't know if they installed it and did it or whatever.
Well,
but
they're talking about making like basically growing organs.
yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but they probably already got a lot of stuff that we
Right.
don't know about because
Sure.
we talk about that all the time. You
Yep.
know, they got to figure out how is it going to be profitable.
Right.
How is it going to be a residual profit? It can't be
Right.
just like I heard something, my buddy sent me something about multiple sclerosis, how some scientists and researchers found how to remyelinate the myelin sheath in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that pretty much eradicates multiple sclerosis, I'm thinking. But, it's still a couple years out. They got to do the clinical trials, placebo effect, and all that other kind of crap. And I'm sure they've been working on it for a decade already. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, they have to, because until an entire lifespans have come and gone under these experiments, you are still a guinea pig. They don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Well, say that to vaccines that get on the market and hot skip and a jump, and they're already on the market already, And, yeah, they do some testing, but they don't look into the factors.
There's no liability.
Yeah, and there's no liability.
They don't care if it's good for you. They care if they can make money. And they care if there's a liability that's going to bring them crashing down. That's all they care about.
Yeah, they're just like, well, it looks like it worked on these 3 monkeys, so put it on the market.
Right.
But when it comes to something like multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's or some of these diseases where you got to be put on like immunotherapy type stuff,
Right.
where they tell you, the doctor probably tells you, you're going to be on this for the rest of your life.
Right.
Or you're going to be in a wheelchair, or you're going to be, you're going to have mental disorders or whatever, you're going to be on this drug for the rest of your life. So something like this, a treatment that actually remyelinates the myelin sheath.
It takes all that profit away.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden,
it's going to be sequestered.
Right. So they're going to beat that down. They're going to say
Yeah.
it's going to come out in 2-3 years, and then it's going to be 5, and then it's going to be a decade. And by
Right.
that time, millions and millions of people are suffering, and they don't care.
You've got a collapse. You have 3 collapsed vertebrae in your back, and there's bone spurs growing where it used to be stretched out. You need back surgery.
Right.
No, you don't need back surgery. You need to hang upside down for 15 minutes a day, every day.
Every day. All right, man. It's the Bob and Bob Show. Thanks for listening. We will come at you next week again, or the week after, or whatever we do. We're going to do it.
We'll see you next time, you glorious bastards.